All right, there, made
Welcome,
it
everybody,
official.
officially.
It's Carrie and Gary
Yep.
here in Columbus, Ohio, and we're back with another edition of this special class. It's a bonus class to our summer series we've just finished called Business Made Easy. And we have a lot of exciting content to cover, so get your notebooks handy. And please, we want this to be engaging for all of you. For all of you that are showing up here live, especially, we want to cater this and tailor this to you. So what questions that you have, make sure you're dropping those in the chat.
Yep.
And we're gonna all help to answer those questions. And we're gonna have a time of Q&A at the end. So be sure to buckle up. And we're so glad that you're joining us here. Let me go ahead and launch my, launch the presentation, share my screen. Bear with me for a second. Okay, I just have to size this a little bit, fit just right.
So impressed.
I know I'm teaching you technology,
You
like
are.
as you're
I
watching
do
me,
that.
right?
So great.
Hold on tight.
That looks good.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that should be what you all need to see, and then I can open the chat window. We can still see the chat. Okay, technology. So great. Okay, so what are we going to cover during this time together? So some of the questions that you might have, if you, like I said, if you're a longtime customer and you're just wondering like what it would look like to share doTERRA with intention, you might wonder like, how do you actually make money sharing doTERRA? How much time is involved? I know that's a limited thing. We all have limited amounts of, we all have the same 24 hours on the clock, right? But we all feel like our 24 hours are very full. So how much time is involved? And we actually have some testimonials that are going to be shared on that very point. And then you probably are wondering, could this work for me? And what would be the next step? So we're gonna get to all of these different questions as we go along. And is there anything else, Gary, that you wanted to share to kind of set the stage and the tone before we launch this over to Aaron?
Yeah, no, we're just super excited to have you all. And this really is just, for if you're been with doTERRA, it's to help you kind of see how you might, as Carrie mentioned, share this with others. And then also if you're brand new, just what might the next step look like? Okay, we're hoping that we get some of you to take a next step with doTERRA. So yeah, we're looking forward to this. Thank you for joining.
And so Aaron, we're going to pass the baton over to you in a second, but before you get to share, I just want to let everybody know, Aaron and I, we know each other from back in the day when we both sold books door to door for a company called the Southwestern Company. And we sold as college students, we sold educational books to families with kids. And we met on one of the incentive trips that was in Mexico. And then we ended up, we didn't really actually get to know each other there, but we got to know each other backpacking when we were backpacking around Europe. We kind of bumped into each other literally at the same youth hostel in Switzerland. And we've had some wild adventures together since then. But Aaron was someone that I always went to when I was a brand new mom, when I wanted to know, to get all my questions answered for like the natural homeopathy and kind of the herbal remedies, and the more like she was already doing the things that I saw, like, hey, using the natural things as your first line of defense. So she was something that this was something I knew I wanted to get Aaron's opinion on. And so that's really how I approached it with Aaron. Is I said, Aaron, I've just gotten introduced to essential oils, and she'd heard about them from like cloth diapering and maybe using some tea tree oil. But my approach with her was, I really want to know your opinion because you're someone whose opinion I trust and respect. And me opening up the door to that conversation with her, she right away was willing to jump on a webinar that Justin Harrison did called Why doTERRA, Why Now? And we watched that she's in North Carolina and I was in Columbus, Ohio. And we watched that webinar together. And then we followed up with each other the next day. And she was my first ever friend that I launched into doTERRA from afar. And really just very organically, she started to use the oils and saw them changing and working in their families' lives, like what our experience was. And I'll let Erin tell kind of the rest of the story, but she is a gem. And I love her approach and her authenticity. And so Erin, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Let's see here. Hopefully my audio's on. I had myself muted earlier in case my children started screaming in the background. So so Carrie and I have literally known each other what seems like forever. I am here in North Carolina, so I will pull out my Southern accent quite a few times for you guys all over the country that are joining us. But I've been with dōTERRA, let's see here. Our youngest is 12 now, and I enrolled like a month before I found out I was pregnant with him. So that kind of tells you how long we've been using dōTERRA. It took me a little while to start sharing, partly because it was so new, partly because I was a new mom. Looking back, I was sharing, just not really intentionally, which I'll talk a little bit about. But it was about a year or so after I started using dōTERRA that Carrie reached out to me. I guess it was about a year and a half. And just like she knew I'd been using the product, I've been loving them, and she was like, I would love to do this with you. And that's what she was talking about, kind of launching someone from afar. But what I want to really talk to you guys about today is things that I wish I had thought through when I first got started with dōTERRA almost 13 years ago. It'll be 13 years in October, actually, is when I personally got enrolled with dōTERRA. So for some of you guys, you've been using dōTERRA for a while, you've been sharing dōTERRA for a while. Some of you guys on here, you're completely brand new. So let's talk a little bit about what it looks like exploring the opportunity. And I want you guys to write down some of these questions, because I really want you to spend some time kind of marinating on it, whether it's during tonight's class or after we're done and you're getting ready to go to bed. You should have a moment to really think through. It's like, what would be the best part of running your own business? Now, some of you guys may already run your own business. Maybe you are a birth doula or a photographer or a teacher, and you already do something where you run your own business. So let's talk about what would be the best part of running your own business, even if you already run a business yourself, because we're going to talk about the differences between the two. How do you feel about network marketing? Now, you guys, I'm going to be completely transparent, totally honest. If you've ever been on a call with me, you know that I really don't, hide behind the curtain at all. If you've been on an after-hours session chat with me, like I get really blunt and obvious, and I'm going to kind of do like an after-hours session with you guys right now. Is if you had asked me how I feel about network marketing 13 years ago, I would have run to the hills, because it was not my thing. It's part of the reason why I didn't share dōTERRA when I first got started, because I was like, oh, heck no, I will never, ever, ever do that, ever. Because so many of my friends had reached out to me about makeup and hair products and, pans and pots and clothing and all these other things. You guys, look at me, my hair's barely brushed. I don't even have makeup on right now. I'm not that person. I cannot share something that I don't love and I'm not passionate about. So I, for the longest time, that was a holdup for me. I have completely changed my tune, and we'll talk about that right now, because it is September 1st. And I want you guys to take out the word network marketing, and I want you to ask yourself, how do you feel about social selling? Because the majority of you guys on here have some sort of social circles that you run in. Maybe you're on social media, maybe you're not. It doesn't matter. You can have an extremely successful business without being on social media. I cannot tell you guys how many people have talked to me or posted about a pumpkin latte in the last 24 to 48 hours, because, oh my gosh, autumn's here, fall is coming, yay. Okay, you guys, they are selling something. It's just nobody's paying them for it. Okay. So here's your opportunity to share something that you love, share something that has changed your life. And oh, by the way, you can get paid for it. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I want you to really dive into your own personal feelings about how you feel about network marketing, but really how you feel about social selling, and really be aware of truly what life you're living, what world you're living in regards to what's truly going on around you. Because sometimes I feel like we tell ourselves one thing, but we're not cognitive of what is truly transpiring in our daily lives, if that makes sense. Okay, give me a thumbs up or a yes, or if you understand what I'm talking about there, because we are influenced all day long by the people around us, good or bad, right? So let's also talk about what intrigues you about the opportunity with dōTERRA. What kind of lights your fire. Okay. Now, for me, when I first got started years ago, it truly was, I had seen what they had done for my family. I had seen what they had done in my life. Now, I now have many, many, many years to kind of build on that. And I've heard these amazing testimonials, and I've seen firsthand what they can do for friends and family members that have suffered from migraines literally since they were in middle school. And now they're, over 50 years old, and past tense has completely changed their life. You guys, just by giving someone a little bottle of something, we have a brand new product line that's getting ready to launch. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. That truly is transformative to people's lives and such need right now in our world. But that's really the thing. Every single person on this call tonight has had their life changed by something in dōTERRA's product line, whether it was the supplements, whether it was the community, whether it was the oils, whether it's the product line that hasn't even launched yet. Okay. But the reality is, all of us have had our lives changed by dōTERRA, and we have the opportunity to change someone else's life as well. I think of it kind of like when you throw a stone or a pebble into a pond, and just that ripple effect of going out to areas that you didn't even realize you could touch. We have the opportunity to change people's lives, not just their own life, but literally for generations. You guys think about that, because you get to change how people take care of their health, which is going to impact the way they take care of their kids' health and their kids' health, right? And then what would residual income mean for your family? Like, truly, what would residual income mean for you? And for all of you guys on here, it's going to mean something different. For some of you guys, it may mean like, gosh, if I could just make, $50 a month on a regular basis, that would be transformative for our family's budget, because it would allow us to have a date night once a month, which would be huge for our marriage, or to make a few extra $100 a month so that I can stay home full time with my kids, or work part time where I'm at. Whatever that may mean, I'll share with you guys what residual income is meant for our family. It is not what it meant for my family, 10, 12 years ago when I first got started with dōTERRA. A lot of you guys know I contracted Lyme disease right before COVID. And we're going to talk about COVID too. That was not anything that I had on my radar. It's not anything I intended to have happen, but I more or less was bedridden for about 2 months. Like, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. But the beauty of it is I had been able to build our business to a place where I literally could lay on the couch or sleep in a bed for almost 6 weeks straight, because all my body could handle. And every week I still got a check. And I mean, I literally got 5 paychecks every single month. Okay. And that was huge for our family. It was huge for our security, for my overall wellness, because it wasn't something I had to worry about. Okay. And then COVID happened. And a lot of you guys, when I talked about what's the best part of running your own business, a lot of folks out there, whether you're a photographer or a caterer or what have you, and you run your own business, COVID impacted that. A lot of massage therapists that I work with, dōTERRA was their saving grace during COVID, because they were continuing to get an income every single week, every single month, even though they could not work outside of circumstances out of their control. And that's the beauty of residual income. Now, your family may be in a different situation, but I can tell you this: residual income can be transformative for every single person out there. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, and let's talk a little bit about what financial freedom truly means. And I talked about, $50 extra, $250 extra, but I want you just to think for a minute. Okay, I've got my vision board over here. I can't jack my camera around to show you guys, but think about what financial freedom would truly mean for your family. Now, I want you to be slightly realistic, but also I want you to think boldly. Okay, whether that's $1,000 a month, whether that's $2,000 a month, whether that's 6 figures a month, whatever that is for you, like, what truly financial freedom is going to mean for you. And you can think of it in stages of, like, gosh, like I said, $250 or $500 a month would be humongous, because it would help us get out of credit card debt within the next 8 months or the next year. Okay. Or it could be, gosh, if I could just make $1,000, we could pay off our mortgage, and that would free up so much in regards to our overall spending and our ability to save and give boldly in other areas of our life. So just write that number down and think about it and circle it, and really kind of think of, like, 3 stages of like, oh, that feels good, that would be awesome. And then like 2 numbers that kind of scare you a little bit. Like you write it down and you get like those butterflies in your belly and you're like, there is no way I could ever do that. Because I promise you guys, that's how I felt. Okay. And it's how I feel sometimes even to this day of like, whoo, how in the world does that happen? And how do I do that? Because it's real. Okay. If I can do this, when I got started with dōTERRA, I had a 5-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and more or less a newborn is pretty much when I first got started with dōTERRA. Now there's 17, 14, and 12. I had to think about that. And so you fit it in the nooks and crannies, and we're going to have some great speakers who are going to kind of share on that in a little bit. So why don't you go to the next slide after we've had a chance. So here's the thing. We talked about owning your own business or just having a traditional job. Okay. So when you have a traditional job, whether that's owning your own business or working for someone else, okay, you are trading hours for dollars. If you're a photographer, you only get paid if you're on the job taking pictures, doing your job, right? If you are a hairdresser, you can only earn money when you are cutting someone's hair. If you work as a personal assistant for someone, you've got to go in, 9 to 5 or whatever that is, and that's when you get paid. If you want time off, you got to ask for it, right? You got to schedule that in, and you're not going to get paid if you're not at work. Okay. You have limited advancement and earnings in a traditional job. I worked as a headhunter before I had kids, and it did not matter how hard I worked, how many hours I worked, how many quote unquote deals I put together. I was never going to make more money than the manager who had hired me and who oversees me. It wasn't going to work that way. Okay. There's also limited time freedom, which we talked about in regards to vacation and taking time off to, go to your kids' games or recitals or what have you. And truly at the end of the day, when you think about it, you're building someone else's dream. Now, yes, I know if you own your own business in regards to the majority of business owners out there, yes, you're building your dream. Okay. However, you're still limited on time freedom. You're limited on trading hours for dollars. And a lot of situations you're limited on earnings because like Carrie said, when we first got started, we all have the same 24 hours. As a chiropractor, you can only do so many adjustments in the course of a day. So you're still limited in that scenario. Okay. So let's talk about authentic direct sales. It's true residual income. So when I had Lyme disease and I was sick as a dog and literally laying on a couch, I would get myself dressed twice a week. And I would roll myself to my kids' soccer games and I would roll myself home. Nobody outside of our like immediate circle knew how sick I was because I still wanted to show up for my kids and be there for them. It took every ounce of energy literally just to sit on the sidelines for 90 minutes and then I had to come home. However, our income really didn't change much during that season of our lives. Okay. There's no limits on advancements. Carrie and I joke about this all the time. Like at the end of the day, I could make more money than she does. Now I don't. Okay. That's okay. She works her tail off. She and Gary do awesome. Neil and I do great. We're doing well, but any of you guys can outrank either one of us. Okay. They're presidential diamonds. We're a blue diamond. Any of you guys could outrank us. It does not matter. And it doesn't matter if you're just getting started now. I know you guys, some of you guys might be on here like brand new thinking like, oh man, they've been doing this for 13 years or 10 years or 8 years or 7 years or however long you hear people today talking that have been doing dōTERRA and you're like, I'm just getting started. It does not matter. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about why in just a minute. This is such a perfect time for all of you guys. Freedom to choose your schedule. Okay. You get to choose which recitals you want to go to, which games you want to go to. When you want to go on vacation, you're going to hear from Lori Voss here in a little bit. You guys, they just got back from the most amazing trip in Ireland. She didn't have to ask Carrie if she wanted to go. She just bought her plane tickets and went and said, sayonara, peace out. All right. That's the beauty of our authentic direct sales. You get to choose and you get to build your own dreams. Your dream may be to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. Your dream may be to pay off your home or to give boldly on mission work that you're passionate about. That's the beauty of this is you get to decide and you get to build it. Okay. So let's go to the next slide for time's sake, just to kind of keep on scrolling. So I want to talk about kind of why partner with dōTERRA. You guys, obviously they're effective, right? All right. None of you guys would be on this call if something had not impacted your life and helped you feel better. Okay. The beauty of it though, is that it is the most trusted and the most tested. I'm just talking about our oils, but it really goes into all of our products, the purity and the standard. A lot of times, you know, folks will ask, and I chuckle when I look at this because you can tell this PowerPoint slide's a little out of date. And I'm going to quiz you guys because we had trivia earlier. Over 4.5 million customers is what it says right now on that on the slide. How many of you guys can drop in the chat? Carrie, you keep an eye out for the right answer of how many worldwide customers we actually have right now. And we're going to see who knows it. Carrie, feel free to interrupt me when you see the right answer. You guys, our purity and our standard is literally cannot be compared to anything else out there. It's one of the reasons why sometimes we don't have the massive product line that people are looking for. They're like, well, why don't we have this? Or why don't we have that? It's because, and we're going to talk about sustainability in a second, but it's because we can't get the purity, the quality, or do it in a sustainable way that meets our standards. All right. So I appreciate that. Okay. That we keep that as our core forever and ever. We are used by hospitals and doctors worldwide. I was on a call today with some of the top leaders in dōTERRA, and we had 2 doctors on the call just talking about the science and the health impact the new product line is going to have on our country, on our world, on people closest to you, probably yourself. Okay. We have a record-breaking retention.
We just
65%.
had Robin drop in the right answer with 13 million.
13 million. You guys, that is crazy. And I want you guys to write down that number for you guys that did not know the answer, 13 million, in regards to something I'm going to share with you guys in just a second. So we have record-breaking retention of 65%. This is part of the reason why I refuse to ever do network marketing, okay? Because the industry average is 13%. So what that means is, like, if you go out and you share a product with 100 people, you can count on 13 of them reordering. So for any of you guys that are business savvy, in order to maintain the same income level, you would have to constantly be bringing on new people just to, like, stay status quo, okay? Because you're only, out of 100, you're only having 13 reorder every month. Where dōTERRA's retention rate, it's almost like hard to believe sometimes when I talk to people about it, because it's 65%. It is amazing. Everyone, not only does everyone need oils, everyone needs dōTERRA. They need natural options in their home. dōTERRA is so much more than an oil company. It, like, gives me chills sometimes. So anybody can be a customer. We truly have only tapped, barely tapped the market. Why don't you go to the next slide for me, Carrie? So proven. Yes, we're the world's largest essential oil company. We talked about 13 million customers. Our growth rate is similar to Apple. All right, we were a 1 billion, that's with a B, okay, dollar company in 7 years. The majority of you guys, the majority of the world has an Apple product in their home. A lot of us have multiple. I have 2 sitting on my desk right now. And if my phone wasn't, my watch wasn't charging, I'd have 3. People need dōTERRA, okay? They need it in their homes more than they need an Apple Watch, I'll be honest with you guys. The optimal timing for opportunity truly is right now. So this is what I want to talk to you guys about. We talked about that our customer base is already 13 million. Some of you guys are brand new on this call, and you'd be like, well, there's already 13 million customers. Like, where's there room for me? Okay, here's the reality. In a couple of weeks, September 15th, all right, so we're like 2 weeks away, dōTERRA is launching a product line that will literally be the largest product launch in direct selling history ever. Okay, so this is outside of just like our little oil thing that we've been going on for a couple of years, aka the largest essential oil company in the world. But we're getting ready to launch a product that can be transformative to everyone's health. So when I say the timing is optimal, I'm not just saying that. You have an amazing opportunity to grow your business, relaunch your business, relaunch and grow your business at the same time. Okay, because all of you guys fall into one of those kind of categories, right? We're in 120 markets worldwide. So for you guys that have family or friends or connections and outside of the United States, this is a perfect company to partner with, because you can truly get products into almost every nook and cranny of this world with those markets. We're privately owned, which just says a lot about in regards to how we plan, how we make decisions. the integrity, not putting dollars over people, okay? And we're debt-free with no outside funding. So that doesn't impact our decision-making in regards to how we decide to launch products, produce products, source products, because we're not constrained by outside sourcing or outside funding that may impact how we make decisions for long-term growth and health. Why don't you get the next page for me? Karen, if any of you guys have ever been to a post-convention tour, been to a convention, been to leadership, been on a co-impact sourcing trip, had a chance to be on a call or even just watch a video with some of the owners, some of the founders, they truly create partnerships with growers around the world. Carrie talked, kind of highlighted a few of the areas, where we source our oils from, but really making an impact on both sides of the bottle. We preserve agricultural traditions through co-impact sourcing. That's the beauty is, we're not working out of a greenhouse in Utah, like kind of concocting all these plants, right? We go to where these plants grow in the most ideal conditions. We partner with folks who in the majority of the cases have been sourcing and harvesting these plants for generations. And we teach them sustainability. We teach them how to preserve their agricultural traditions, but also do it in a way that can reap an even more impactful and higher quality product. If you guys have never seen the co-impact video on vetiver, I highly encourage you just to go to YouTube tonight, watch it. It will be life-changing for you because it talks a lot about educating them on harvesting their product in a different manner so that it actually improves the quality of the product. They're not seeking financial aid right away because they know they're going to get paid. Okay. And if we have time at the end, I can talk a little bit more about that. The nonprofit Healing Hands Foundation focuses a lot on giving back. They're going to have a huge initiative at convention for you guys that are going to convention. The beauty of it is that every single time you use a bottle, whether it's a bottle of lemongrass or, like black pepper, pink pepper is another great co-impact sourcing and Healing Hands. When you use one of those bottles of oils, not only is your life being improved, like Carrie was talking about juniper berry for night terrors and kidney health, but the folks who are harvesting that bottle on the other part of the world, their lives are being impacted too. And so that's the great thing is all of your customers, yourself included, you get to purchase with a purpose. And that's really important to a lot of people nowadays. You can go to Source to You to learn more about that. You can actually look up a lot of the testing and the quality and the sourcing from all the oils really all over the world. I think it's 84 different countries that we source from, which is pretty amazing. If you want to go to the next one in regards to, I think we got one more and then we're going to show a video. Is that one more slide? Yes. So could this work for you? Are you passionate about oils? And I'd always encourage you to mark through, are you passionate about oils? And take that out. I personally would rewrite that as, are you passionate about helping other people? Because if you're passionate about helping other people and you're passionate about caring for others and loving on them, then this could really be impactful and work for you. Do you care about other people? Because I'll be honest, if you don't care about other people, this probably is not going to be a good fit. I'm just going to be honest. It might work for 3 days and then you're going to be peace out, because you truly got to care for people. You got to want goodness for others. You got to want to help them. And then can you follow a system and get things done? The beauty of starting your business now is the majority of the kinks have been worked out. When Carrie, Gary, and myself got started, let me just tell you, there was only 5,000 or 6,000 kinks that needed to be worked out. Everything is streamlined now. It's rinse and repeat for all of you guys. A lot of the heavy lifting has already been done. You just have to take a system that's already been created and proven to work. You're not like the guinea pigs we're going to try this out on. Okay. And you literally just have to do the same thing over and over and over again. So if you care about people, if you're passionate about helping other people and helping them be healthier, okay, you like to love on people and you can follow a system and get things done, then this can be an awesome fit for you. Whether you've been doing this for years and years and you're ready to jump back in, or you're completely brand new, there truly has never been a better time to get started helping others. So thank you guys for having me on. I hope that helps. I'll stay on for questions at the end. I'll jump in the chat as we pass the baton to other people to answer questions. So you guys have a good one.
So good.
Thank you, Erin. That was great. That was awesome.
I feel all invigorated and inspired again. And you all can see why I was like, Erin, I want to do this together. I mean, and that's the fun thing. I in the very beginning, I wasn't looking for a business opportunity, but I could not help but to share dōTERRA because we were having one experience after another with these working for our family. And I came home after teaching one of my classes and I said, Gary, I feel like this is a calling. Like I'm meant to do this.
Yeah.
And that's really when his attitude started to change too. He's like, oh, I don't want to stand in the way of something that like God's doing here. And I really just started to think about in my heart, like who were the people in my life already? Who were the people that God had already linked? I'd already linked arms with that were my dear friends and people that I trust, that were like-minded in terms of those things that Erin just said, like those 3 different things. And those are the friends that I reached out to and said, I want to do this together with you. And it's so fun when you link arms with the people that are like-minded. And if they happen to be some of your best friends and family members, even better.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You want to take
Sure,
this one?
I'll take this one. You can chime in too. So Erin actually touched on several of the points in this. So why direct sales? There is a built-in, so if you think about starting a business from scratch, I've thought about all kinds of business ideas, like wouldn't that be fun to do? But then I think about all the infrastructure and systems I'd have to create to do that. Well, all of that's, as Erin mentioned, all of that's done for us. So dōTERRA takes care of all the heavy lifting. They do all the inventory, all the customer service, or customer service is amazing. All the shipping issues, all the product sourcing, they do all that. All we do is, as Erin mentioned, we just love on people and share these oils. There's a built-in education system. So anytime you start a new business, you got to learn tons of stuff. With this one, it's super simple. There's not a ton to learn, but it's all built in, ready to go. And it's a very low startup cost. You start a new business from scratch and you're going to have massive capital expenditures up front. It's a lot of risk. With this, there's virtually no risk. You basically just, it's
our startup cost is the cost of our kit that we enrolled in,
which we got covered within a couple of months, and then it was everything was profit after that. So super awesome business model. That's why it's so successful, and that's why dōTERRA is doing so great with it. I can take this one too.
Okay.
So it's super simple. What do we do? How do we make money? It's 4 simple steps. Rinse and repeat, as Erin mentioned, right? You sample to love on someone. You give them a sample for something they're dealing with, all right, a headache, digestive issue, sleep issue, whatever it is. You teach people how to use the oils, right? So there is a little bit of a learning curve with them. Some people look at the bottle, don't know what to do. So we teach them. And then we get them started with their own membership so they can get their own oils. And then we support those people that we enroll. So we're there for them to answer questions, to continue to provide education. And if they want to go on a journey more than that, we're there to help them with that too. So that's basically it.
And what I want to let all of you know that are watching this and kind of leaning in is that support piece is for all of you, because you might get to that step 2 that says teach, and maybe that overwhelms you to think of like, I don't know how to teach a class.
It can be
how would I
just
do
a
this?
one-on-one.
And so the way that we model the teaching is that we always, first of all, we say like, keep it simple. dōTERRA is now created. There's print tear sheets, we call them, but it's basically everything that you need to say that's on a piece of paper, front and back. And you just read off of that. So it's really nice. It's meant to be super easy that you can just get together with a friend at their home or at Starbucks or at, like on the playground and be like, oh, here, let's here's the three cool things about oils. Here's the 3 ways to use them. And here's how the 3 ways that you can buy them, so
I'm glad you called that out. Do not be intimidated by that step. It's super easy and fun.
One-on-one.
Even I can do it.
If you like the idea of having a class but you don't know how to teach a class, that's where you reach up the line to the people that are above you, some of the leaders, and say, hey, I want to host a class. Would someone come and teach it for me? And we can do online classes like we're doing right now. We can do things in person, and we like to model it like, hey, we'll teach several, and then you come and like co-teach part of it until you feel empowered to do that on your own. So there's lots of support all along the way with all these different steps.
So I like this slide. I think it's helpful for newer people, especially because this is a question you all would have, right? And like, do I have the time to do this? Because we all have, as Aaron mentioned, we all have limited time, and that is part of everyone's story, right? And so, if you just are looking to get your oils paid for, 3 to 5 hours a week, right? If you're wanting to supplement your income, so you're wanting to pay off some debts, you're wanting to maybe save for vacation, save for kids' college, 10 to 15 hours a week. And if you're wanting to replace your income, which the speakers on this call all have done, it's more than that, 15 to 30 plus. Certainly in the early years, and then it can go down from, it can be fewer hours after that. But so those are kind of what you're looking at, depending on what your goals are. Now, and you can fit all this, Lori Voss, hopefully she gets to share a little bit of her story, but it can fit in the cracks of your life. She was a full-time teacher, and very busy with that, of course, as you can imagine. And she was able to fit doTERRA, sharing with others, into the cracks of her life. And she was able to retire many years earlier than she would have otherwise. So it's, you pick your pace. As Aaron mentioned, it's your business. You do it when and how you want to. You have the freedom to do it when you would like to.
And
So
the one thing I'll say is, I always, sometimes you'll see people that like, oh, they hit diamond in a month, or they hit silver in 6 months, or all these different things. And our personal story is that we never won any races hitting any of these ranks.
Yeah.
But we just had, with consistency, consistent effort, we eventually hit all of our goals. And so that's what I encourage people. Like, I knew that I was a full-time mom, and that was my primary job and responsibility and passion. And I knew that doTERRA was something I wanted to do for fun on the side. And so during my kids' nap times and during their bedtime, when they went to bed, that's when I figured out how to fit it into the day. And then eventually they all went to school, and I had more time during the day. And then guess what? We decided to homeschool. So now they're back at home, and now we're high school, middle school, and elementary school teachers. And we're back to fitting doTERRA into the different like nooks and crannies.
It moves around
and it's fine, and it works great. And I love that we have the flexibility to say yes to these things that feel like we're supposed to during these seasons of our life, right?
So this slide's intended to kind of show, there's a lot of information here, but it kind of shows a typical growth as you go through doTERRA. This is over, for most people, it's over several years. But as you do the rinse and repeat steps of sampling and teaching and enrolling and supporting, you continue to grow in doTERRA's rank system that they have, right? You hear of different ranks. And I remember being at the first convention that I'd ever been to. I was just kind of getting into the business of it. Carrie had was growing an active business. And so I didn't know what it was all about. I show up at convention. Carrie's not with me. I walk into one of the training classes. Do you know what story I'm going to tell? I walk, and I have a diamond rank badge. She was already diamond by then. I had no idea what that meant. So I've got a diamond because I'm her husband.
You kind of knew.
I kind of knew.
You walked at the gala with me the day before.
Well, so I had the diamond badge on because I'm her husband. And I walk in, I sit down in this convention class that they had, one of the breakout sessions. And I started talking with the person next to me, a young lady, and she stops and she goes, "Oh my God, you're a diamond." And she goes, I'm not kidding, because it's exactly how it happened. And everyone around us, like the record player, stopped, and everybody like turned around. Everybody turned and looked at me like a spotlight went like this. And this girl was like, "Tell me everything you know." And it was hilarious. I'll never forget it. And all these awesome ladies were like taking notes of and I said, here was my answer. I said, well, here's what I know at this point. This is how you change a diaper, because that's what I was doing, and she was making it happen. But then I came on board. So anyway, so this just shows there's growth possibilities. Let's zoom in on the next slide. Okay. So this zooms in on like the first few ranks. I think it has, hopefully you can see some dollar figures, and obviously the income increases as you put more time in and you grow your team. That's typical of most network marketing, social selling companies. We'll show you what's unique about doTERRA here in a minute. But so there's different, your timeline could be different than other people, but let's go to the next slide. So that's the first kind of 4 ranks, and this is the ranks after that. and you can kind of see the income potential that you have with this, depending on what your goals are, right? So the average incomes are helpful, hopefully, for all of you to see. But there's, as Aaron mentioned, there's all kinds of potential here. Whatever your needs are, dōTERRA has them for you, and it's truly, it's your business and what you make of it. Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit
go ahead.
about this fast start because it was so funny. After the very first week, you know, we got some oils to share, and I went and I had immediately, before my oils even came, I had already shared with my mom and dad. I actually wanted their opinion about the supplements, and she was really impressed with the ingredients and the price of the supplements. And she said, let's try these. And so I got them rolled, and then I got my mom and dad enrolled within the same week. And my friend Leanne and her mother-in-law, like that, before our order even arrived, we had already enrolled some people. I think they were running a special, like waiving the membership fee. And we're like, oh, we gotta jump on this opportunity. So it's always nice because dōTERRA is always running beautiful promotions, and it makes it easy to share when you kind of ride on those opportunities. And anyhow, I got our oils, and then I got a check in the mail from dōTERRA, like within the same few days. And it was several $100s. And we were like, what in the world is this? And it's funny because I didn't understand the fast start bonus. I only knew something that's on the next slide called the power of 3. And, but the fast start it's a check that pays out every single week. And basically, if anyone that you share with, you get 20% of whatever that person buys, the PV. So if someone gets a kit that's 100 PV, I get a check for 20% of that. So $20. And then my friend Leanne, when she shared with her mother-in-law, who then ordered a kit, Leanne got the 20%. I got 10% from that order. Okay. And then her mother-in-law, she enrolled her son. And so then the mother-in-law got the 20%, Leanne got 10%, I got 5%. So this is something that the fast start pays out on everybody's first 60 days. So not on my first 60 days, but any new person, whatever they order in their first 60 days, pay their enroller gets 20%, and then that person's enroller gets 10 and 5.
And this is intended, the purpose of this is to get you some quick money for the efforts that you're doing by sharing and teaching others. Now, before you move on, I'm remembering as you were sharing that, how I felt when we got those first checks, because to me, her sharing oils was just a fun hobby that she was doing to replace knitting night, right? And then we started getting these checks every week. And I remember feeling like a gangster, or I was the husband of a gangster. I'm like, what are you doing? They're slipping you like checks, and these checks kept going up. But it was a really good feeling as it continued to go up. So anyway.
And this was the thing that I actually first heard about, the power of 3. This is the one thing that I kind of like hooked onto in the very beginning when my friend Betsy had shared with me, was that if I could find 3 other people that would also be interested in doing a monthly order like me, then I could get a $50 bonus. And I really latched on to that right away, because after that conversation with my mom about the supplements, I was like, I want to take those supplements. At the time, I'd been taking a prenatal vitamin for like years on end, one of those 1-a-days that was supposed to be really good for you, but all I noticed was negative side effects from it. And so I was really ready to try a better supplement. But Gary was more, the kind of the one that organizing the budget in the family.
Like,
and
where is that going to fit?
The attorney that's very he was very analytical and very skeptical about not knowing what dōTERRA, who they were. And he's the one that actually read the policy manual and then was really impressed about dōTERRA after reading that policy manual. True story.
That's what sold me.
But I wanted those supplements. And I thought, if I could get $50 a month, that's going to almost cover the cost of those supplements. And then I can justify to him getting the supplements. So I was like, okay, I was thinking, who are 3 people that I know that are like-minded that would also love the idea of buying, that are maybe already spending money on supplements and healthcare products like this. And it's not that they're going to be spending any more money. It's just taking their money from spending it at the local health food store and spending it on their own doTERRA account and getting even better products. And so that's how I thought of those people I already mentioned, and Aaron was one of them. And so I loved the power of 3 because it just helped me be intentional about who I was going out and sharing with first. And then I was encouraging them to do the same thing. So my mom shared with, had a class and started getting her $50 bonus, and Aaron getting, eventually was getting her $50 bonus, and Leanne getting her $50 bonus. And just that ripple effect grew to getting that extra 1,500 bonus plus, you can actually get more than that.
Yeah, to make sure you understand. So you get your 3, you get 50. You help those 3 get their 3, you get 250, and then help all those 3 get 3, you get 1,500. So
Yes,
it's a beautiful
thank you
thing.
for
It's a beautiful
clarifying
thing. Yeah. Next. All right. So I can start. So this is unilevel. This is where in the long run, the bulk of your compensation from doTERRA can come from. So as your team continues to grow, and as Carrie mentioned, power of 3, and as people continue to share on your team and you help those people share, your team obviously will grow. And what happens naturally is you'll have fewer people on your upper levels and more people on your lower levels. So like on your 7th level here, the purple level down at the bottom, you can see there's far more people. With doTERRA's model, the percentages that pay out, it's a smaller percentage at the top, 2%, 7% on the bottom, and it grows as you go down. That's a beautiful thing, because where are most of your people? They're going to be at the 7th level, which is a great thing. If you look at the typical unilevel plan, so doTERRA is very unique in this. Most will pay them. Most plans will pay out the most on the top level, which is where you have fewer people. So in the same exact, with the same exact number of people, one organization pays you $6,561. doTERRA pays you $22,963. Now that takes time, of course, but it just shows you the power and the we always said starting out, and we still do, just how gracious doTERRA is with their compensation plan. I mean, it's just so amazing, over the top. We're just so blessed by it. It's all blessing, to be honest. We just get to share and love on people, and they take care of you for doing that. And instead of spending money on expensive marketing campaigns and commercials and all the stuff, and wasting millions of dollars on that, they invest in us, because we're out there telling people about these amazing oils. So it's a beautiful system.
It's a word of mouth,
social
sharing kind of a product. So doTERRA picked this model very intentionally. And what I want to tell you is, if some of these slides, as we're talking about this, overwhelm you, don't even worry about trying to memorize it. I didn't understand this unilevel thing until we finally started getting paid unilevel, which took a little while. So that's where the fast start and the power of 3, that's what I focused in on the beginning. And then eventually the unilevel kind of kicked in. And now that's definitely the bulk of our check that we get every month is from the unilevel. So at that point, we started learning it.
That's right. When you start, when it starts to matter to you, you learn about, wait, what is this? How does it work?
So just know that doTERRA is set up to be a kind of company that's around for the long haul, and their pay structure matches that.
All right, so we just got a couple more slides left. So this is about the kind of the icing on the cake. Again, don't let it overwhelm you. The key here is doTERRA also pays out leadership performance pools at various ranks. So think of this as we all get to share in the overall sales of doTERRA. So they take a percentage of the overall revenue of the company and they share it in these pools with these various ranks. It creates, I'll tell you this, it creates a tremendous, I'll try to be as succinct as I can.
This is the point. I want you to lean in and listen to what he's about to say, because the whole reason we're telling you about this performance pool is, in my opinion, one of the coolest ways that doTERRA set it up for camaraderie.
Yes, so it creates an incredible. So I was working when she started doing doTERRA, I was working full-time in corporate America as an attorney. It was a very it's competitive culture. It was kind of every man and woman for themselves. Everybody was trying to get ahead, and that's just kind of the way it is. When I went to doTERRA, and went to doTERRA events, I saw and felt the culture of support and cheering everyone on, and we're all in this together, and isn't this a great company, and isn't this great what we get to do together?
Like
And
legitimately excited for everyone else's success.
like I couldn't believe the support and the love that I was absolutely blown away. I'd never in a work or business setting never experienced that. I mean, the support is amazing, and I was blown away by it. This is much of the reason for that. This is not the primary reason for that, but this is part of it, because we all get to share in the overall performance of doTERRA. But beyond that, doTERRA has created that culture of love and support, and we all share ideas and work together. There's multiple diamond leaders on this call, helping each other, and we collaborate. So that's a beautiful thing about doTERRA's culture. And then this is kind of the last slide before we wrap up, but this kind of wraps up what Aaron has been saying and we've been saying. If you look at a typical, I was working full-time as an attorney, and I made decent money for sure, and I was blessed by that. It was a salary, and if I was going to go increase my salary, I'd have to bust my rear end for executives that were making their dreams come true. Okay, and then I would maybe get a 2 or 3% raise that year. Okay, and that's the God's honest truth, and I was happy with that. That's about the extent. And Aaron mentioned this earlier, right? I didn't have unlimited income potential in where I was. And I remember coming back from one of the conventions,
and he didn't have time freedom. I'll tell
I
you
did
that.
not have time freedom. I didn't see my kids. I didn't see the light of day, to be honest. I left when it was dark. I came home when it was dark, and I'd see my kids for a little bit, and they'd go to bed, and I hated it.
And it was a scarcity
Yeah.
mentality about vacation days. He was even nervous
I couldn't
about
take
like using a
vacation, like, I
vacation
had
days because
limited
he's like,
vacation. Yeah.
I only have so many.
So, I came home from one of the conventions, and I sat down at my desk, and I'm typing out an email for an executive, a legal opinion that he wanted at rush order. And I'm like, I could do this the rest of my life, or I could do something really scary and join my spouse in this amazing opportunity that we have in front of us. And so, shortly after that, we connected on that. We talked about what's our plan for the future so that we can take control of our lives, our financial future. Again, I was happy to be able to provide for my family and that job that I had, but I felt restricted. So we're so blessed by what doTERRA has for us, and it's really, it's in our control. Like I have full control, and my success and failure is completely up to us, right? So we love that about this business. So let's wrap this up. What are the next? Sorry,
Well, and my mom is on now.
Yes,
so
right.
I'm really excited for you all to hear my mom, Lori Voss, and I'm going to stop the screen share for the moment and get my screen where I can see everybody. And I'm excited for you to get to hear her business testimonial, because a lot of you know her, but a lot of you have maybe never met her or have never heard this story that she's about to share. Thank you, Lori Voss, for joining us. I know you're like rushing in from one meeting to this meeting. And so we've already, Aaron got to share all about your amazing Irish getaway.
Ireland. Yes, we just got back. That was amazing. And that actually was one of my biggest goals, was to be able to travel, which we've definitely seen. But I heard Carrie was talking about how she asked me to be in her power of 3. I remember this right near the beginning of our journey together. She says, I want you to be one of my 3. And I'm like, you're 3 what? And she said, well, all you have to do is order $100 a month. And I'm like, what? What? But here's the thing. Those lifelong vitalities that she was telling you about, when I went and looked into them, they had more in them than the supplements I was already taking, and I was already spending almost $90 a month. So for me to make that switch to the lifelong vitality, I'm like, well, if I can just get those paid for, then I'm already in the money, because I'm already spending that money elsewhere. So that's really why I was like, okay, I'll do this, and I'll host a couple of classes, and hopefully we'll, help to get that back. And it really wasn't about 3 months later that I was making at least $100 a month. And then my next goal was, well, if we could get our car payment paid for, because we were living paycheck to paycheck, you guys, paycheck to paycheck. We had a daughter in high school. We had 2 that had just finished college. We're, lots of debts. And so that, to me, a $250 bonus was huge. And I worked really, really hard to try to get that $250 bonus. How did I do that? I was working full time, and I told Carrie when we first started there, there's no way that I had time to do this. I was also moonlighting in my free time, teaching private lessons. I was a music teacher, and then I, volunteering. So I did not have any nights a week. So I ended up giving up one of my nights of teaching lessons and consolidating into another night. So I had one night a week that I could possibly do doTERRA. And that's how I did it. It wasn't a fast way to do it, but it was very steady. And I just tried to make sure that I would introduce doTERRA to at least 2 or 3 new people every month. And I was getting the fast starts, and I was getting the checks in the mail, and pretty soon I was getting my $250 bonus. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So, yeah, and after I did it for several years, then I was making the same amount from doTERRA that I was from my teaching. And I was at the top of the pay scale in a really good schools district. So it was kind of scary to quit my job. But at the same time, I knew how much my job was holding me back with doTERRA. So I was at the rank of gold when I quit my job. And then the next month after I quit my job, I hit platinum, and then 6 months later with diamond. And then I was able to get my dream kitchen. That's what I was saving our money for too. So we got to remodel our kitchen. And then so it's just really neat that suddenly I wasn't just held down and held back by my job, but it was up to me. And I really thrived with that kind of environment. So, and I'm really thankful and grateful that Carrie introduced it to me, and it's just, it's totally changed my life. So thank you, Carrie. Thank you for trusting me.
It gives me all the feels hearing you speak, Mom. And yeah. Okay. I'm going to change our view again so we can see everybody. All right. Well, we've hit the hour-long mark. So we tried to really honor keeping this at an hour. And I'm not going to share my screen. There's one last slide. Yeah, we're just going to talk. So it's where do you go from here? What's next? If you felt inspired or feeling braver after hearing this, or okay, maybe I want to put one foot in front of the other.
Can I say something? Yeah. So listen, I'm putting a challenge out to all 63 people on this call. Okay. You have joined this call. You've taken an hour of your time to hear this. You want to do something, take some action from this call. If you are someone who's been sharing doTERRA actively and you've been with doTERRA for a while, maybe you should be sharing this same presentation with others. If you're someone who's been an active product purchaser of doTERRA and you love the products and you find yourself catching yourself sharing with others, the next step, Carrie's going to tell you what those next steps are. There's next steps for you. If you haven't ever used doTERRA essential oils, but you're curious about them, there's a step for you. My point is this: everyone, please take a step forward. All right.
Yes.
So Carrie's going to tell you what those steps are.
Thank you for saying that. So first of all, if you're on this call or listening to this recording and you don't have your own, you're not yet a doTERRA customer, make sure you set up a wholesale customer account. So whomever shared this video with you or invited you to be here tonight, circle back with them and get your own wholesale customer account set up. That's first. And then we want to really encourage you to find some products that you think you could replace, where you're spending your money already, like whether it's supplements, you've heard us talk about that a lot, the whole abode line, so laundry pods and dishwasher pods and soaps, shampoos, deodorants, skincare products. There's so many things that you're probably spending your money on already that instead you can just reallocate it and spend it in your own doTERRA account. Okay. So you get everything wholesale. And not only that, but you're going to then get free product points back. So it pays for itself. And it's a no-brainer because you really need to be a product of the product. Can you
Yeah.
bring that slide back up?
Yes.
So if you're going to share, you need to start having your own experiences. So get some of the product and start using it and start having some of your own experiences. And really, you'll find it's very easy to have that 100 PV order, because in order to share and get a paycheck, that's the one qualification, is that you need to just have a 100 PV, which means point value, LRP order processing that month to be able to get a paycheck. Okay. So it's very, very easy. If you are using consistently and trying some of those different product lines, it's easy to get to 100. Okay. Maybe it felt overwhelming in the beginning, but now it's hard to rein it in. We always do 125 PV at least, because then you get the free product of the month, right? Like this month, you get a free whole bottle of Tamer essential oil if you do 125. And then we want you to tap into the existing resources. We have all sorts of continuing ed classes that we put out there. There's dōTERRA convention that's happening in 2 weeks. If you aren't going, and you need to at least get yourself a virtual convention ticket. It's only $35, and that gives you access to the highlights of convention and access to getting all the brand new products first for the best price. And by the way, if there's anyone brand new that wants to watch convention and after watching convention says, I want those products, they can call dōTERRA, get the convention ticket, because they actually, if they go to a watch party, for example, with you, if you invite them to your house to watch the convention and they say, I want that, they can then buy their own virtual ticket for $35 to have access to the product. And then dōTERRA will waive their $35 wholesale membership fee. Okay. So we just found that out earlier today. And then start making a list of people that you want to share with, the people that are coming to your mind already as we're talking, the people that you already love being linked arm in arm with, or the people that are like-minded that already like living a natural, more holistic lifestyle, or people that you just feel like you would love to partner with on this journey. Think of the people that you would want to reach out to and start making that list and reaching out and offer them a sample. It's that easy. And then you can just share with them one of our recorded how to use essential oils classes. We have so many of them that are already pre-recorded. So if you're scared to teach a class or don't know what to say, you just send them a recording that we have, and all of us leaders can help get that into your hands. So those are your next steps. Hopefully, whomever you are, wherever you're at, there's something in there that resonated with you. And so we want now, your call to action is to drop in the chat, to put it out there if you're willing, what next step you're planning on taking.
And some people have started doing that, which is great. So yeah.
And that is officially the end of the class. I'm going to stop the recording, but we're going to stay on here for some Q&A.
Yes.
Does that sound good?
Thanks, everybody. Don't leave us. But
But bye anyway.
bye anyway.